Well, good morning, and thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Joe, and today's video is a little bit different. It's going to be a two-part video. Our first part is going to be trying to answer 3 questions concerning eggs. First, should I eat eggs? Secondly, how many eggs can I eat? And thirdly, what exactly are going to be the health benefits to me eating these eggs? The second part of the video will be, for those of us that keep chickens, what sort of nutritional mix can we give our chickens to get the most nutritionally dense eggs possible? If you have children, you're not going to feed them Pop-Tarts for breakfast and popcorn for lunch, and you wouldn't do that. And the reason you wouldn't do it is because it's not a balanced, healthy diet. And the same thing goes for chickens. If we want them to give us the most nutrient-dense eggs, we've got to feed them differently than just corn. So let's get right to it, because we're going to discuss something that has become very valuable in the last month or two, and that is eggs. Okay, so what happened to me eating 6 eggs a day? Nothing bad. My cholesterols and blood chemistries are absolutely perfect, and I'm not a spring chicken. There's a YouTube video out right now that you might want to take a look at. It's Dr. Sten Ekberg, and he has a video. I'll put a link in the description below. It's ate 100 eggs in 7 days. What happened to my cholesterol? It's a very interesting experiment that he did on himself. Essentially what he did was take his blood at a laboratory and establish his blood chemistries before he went on the egg eating binge. Then he ate the 100 eggs over a period of 7 days. At the end of that time, he went back to the laboratory, retook his bloods, and established the new chemistries. He goes into quite a bit of detail about what exactly happened eating all those eggs. You'll be surprised, and I advise you very strongly to watch his video. In fact, many of his videos, if you're interested in eating better and living better. So what exactly is in the eggs that I'm eating? The main cause of blindness in the world today is vitamin A deficiency, and eggs contain an abundant amount of vitamin A. As we get older, our eyesight starts to degenerate. Eggs contain 2 very powerful antioxidants. One is lutein and the other is zeaxanthin. They are powerful antioxidants that have been shown in studies to help prevent macular degeneration and even cataracts. If we look at the retina of the eye, we'll find real concentrations of these 2 antioxidants. So for eye health, you might want to look at more eggs. Eggs are also high in the satiety index scale. What that means is that eggs satisfy you. They satiate you. You eat several eggs and it doesn't allow you to crave calories. You have a sense of fullness. So it could be part of a good weight loss program. You're not going to make those unannounced raids to the refrigerator. So briefly, let's just summarize what are the benefits of eating eggs. We mentioned about the vitamin content of the eggs. Vitamin A, folate, vitamin B5, B12, riboflavin, phosphorus, selenium. Whole eggs are among the most nutritious foods on the planet, containing a little bit of almost every nutrient we need. Omega-3 enriched or pastured eggs contain even more. And we're going to get into that when we put together our feed for our chickens in wintertime. One thing you may notice is that 70% of people that are eating cholesterol may not raise their blood cholesterol or just mildly. But 30% of the population they're termed hyper-responders. And if they eat eggs or other dietary sources of cholesterol, may lead to a large rise. Leave that to your doctor. Eggs are high in cholesterol, but eating eggs does not adversely affect cholesterol in the blood of the majority of people. Eating eggs consistently leads to elevated levels of HDL. That brings us to the point of, how do I buy eggs? Traditionally, people would crack an egg and look at the yolk and say, wow, look at that deep orange color. This must be a nutrient-rich egg. You can't go by that anymore. There are over 15 dyes that are available to egg farmers to put into their chicken feed to control the color of the yolk of the egg. So farmers can go from pale yellow yolks, or if they desire, deep orange yolks. There is no change in the nutrient value. They're just dyes. So we run into this dilemma of, what do we look for? You don't want factory-raised eggs. Yes, I know eggs are very expensive today. Even the factory-raised eggs are expensive. But you might as well get your money's worth. And what you want to look for is pasture organic eggs, not pasteurized. You may see a P on an egg, and that simply means the egg has been heated. They've pasteurized it. You don't want those. You want pasture-raised organic eggs. Those are going to be the most healthful for you. How do you get these? Well, you'll find them in some of the stores. You know, Whole Foods might carry them. You may find them in Trader Joe's. But the best source would be a local farmer. Sometimes the local farmer's market will carry these types of eggs, and they come at a premium. It's very important to understand that it's not improbable to keep a few chickens in your backyard. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm here in a suburb of New York City, and we have neighbors on all sides of us, and we have a small coop, and you can have a small coop with just a few chickens, and you'll be surprised how easy they are and low maintenance that they are. We do a few special things with their feed, especially around wintertime, but don't discount the idea of having a small coop of your own chickens. So what are we going to feed our chickens to give them the best chance to produce the healthiest and, as I mentioned, the most nutritionally dense eggs? Let's talk about chicken feed. It seems you made it this far with me. Let's start mixing grain. And before we do, let's talk about one of the most important items that the chickens are going to need to produce eggs, and that's water. Chickens need fresh, clean water. My chickens consume approximately between 1 and 2 cups of water a day. That's a lot of water, and depending on the size of your flock, obviously, you have to provide a lot. One of the things we do with the water is we mix 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar per gallon of water. This seems to improve the overall health of the flock. And it also keeps the waterers cleaner. They don't seem to grow any mold or slime in them and everything. And the chickens seem to like the water better. So 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar per gallon of water. There are 2 other things that are given free choice to the chickens, and let me show you what those are and why they're important. These 2 items are essential for healthy chickens. The first one here is oyster shell. And it's just a real rich source of calcium for the chickens. This is ground up oyster shells that have been heat treated to get rid of any pathogens that might be in them. This is not mixed in with their food. This is given free choice in a separate container in the hen house. Very important if you want good, tough eggshells and not to allow chickens to deplete their sources of calcium. Keep this available at all times. The other item, not to be confused with the oyster shell, is grit. And grit is nothing but, these are small pieces of granite. And this is essential for chicken digestion. Without this, the chickens can't break up most of the grain that they eat. And talk about bioavailability, the food is not available to the chickens to absorb if they can't grind it up properly. So grit is important, and I'll show you a little diagram of what actually happens here. I think you might be able to see this, but I'll hold it up a bit. And what happens is that chickens don't have teeth. They pick up the food with their beaks, and they swallow it with the help of their tongues. Goes down the esophagus, and there's a bulge down in the esophagus, and this is the crop, and this is their lunchbox. They can keep food in here undigested until they're ready to digest it and push it further down into the digestive system. The next place that the food will go to is called the proventriculus, and that's actually the first part of the true stomach. In here, we're going to find hydrochloric acid, and we're going to find a lot of digestive enzymes to mix with the food. Once it goes past there, now it gets into the food mill. This is the gizzard. This is where the grit does its job. If you've ever seen a gizzard in a supermarket, they sell them because people cook with them. It's a very tough, muscular organ. And with the grit in there, it can break down almost anything that the chickens can eat. That's edible anyway. After it gets mixed up in there, it goes through the rest of the digestive system. But this grit has to be replaced. So this is why we always leave a pile of grit for chickens to eat, free choice. Very important. What's next? Commercial feed. There is a layer feed that's available 24/7 for the chickens. Chickens should have food available all the time. We use a commercial layer feed. Now, the one that we use, I'll show you a picture of it here. And I buy it online from Amazon. If you buy the material at Tractor Supply, I believe it's called Do More, and if you open that bag, that doesn't resemble anything that you'd want to feed your chickens. It changed. A few years ago, it was different, but somehow it seems to have gotten worse. So this Kallenbacher, however it's pronounced, is the one that I use. It's an excellent feed, 16% protein, a little bit pricey, but I pick it up on Amazon, and it really does the job. That's kept out all the time for the chickens. Okay, we've gone through the basics. Now, what do we mix up now for our chickens? Let's show you step by step. The first item that we're going to put into our mixture is oats. These are whole oats. I'm going to try to do this in descending order. The items that we use the most or in the largest quantity will go in first, and then as we go down to the least amounts. But these are absolutely beautiful, and the beauty of these oats is they contain 15% protein. 15% protein. The magic number that everybody looks for is 16% protein for chickens. These also contain fats, antioxidants, and they're a great source of energy for the chickens. So we're going to use 3 scoops of oats in our mixture. This 50-pound bag of oats I got at Tractor Supply, and I think it was around $12. That's a good price for oats, considering the nutritional content of these things. So first thing, 3 scoops of oats into our food grade bucket. There we go. Now we're going to do something that may surprise you. I'll show you what this is. Now, in between each addition of grain, we're going to give a little spray of an element called CBUK 7. CBUK 7 is a great nutrient supplement for chickens. It contains omega-3s, 6, 9s, and a very rare omega-7. You'll see an increase in production in eggs. You'll see more eggs, better tasting eggs, and it just also helps the immune system of the chickens. The omega-7 is very rich in vitamin A, which helps the chickens absorb nutrients through their digestive system. It's not cheap, but you don't have to use a whole lot. I use it in a spray bottle, and I spray it after the addition of each grain that we're using in our DIY mix. Next, we're going to add corn. Next item is corn. I use whole kernel corn. I don't use cracked corn. I found that seems to dry out and gets rid of any essential oils that might be in here. Corn is only 9% protein for the chickens, but it's a good source of energy for them. For this mix, we're going to use 2 scoops of corn kernels. Little spritz, and we mix it up. Our next item is going to be one of the chicken's favorites. It's called Boss, black oil sunflower seeds. Let's get. What we have here now is black oil sunflower seeds, and the chickens absolutely love them, and they're super great for the chickens. They contain an amino acid called methathione, which is super essential for birds. You give chickens these, and you're going to see their feathers start to shine and look so much healthier. It contains, believe it or not, 26% protein. That's an enormous amount of protein for something like sunflower seeds. So this is 1 scoop going into our bucket. And we spritz it. Mix it up. And our next item is going to be something that I think is super essential for tasty eggs, and that's flaxseed. Let's get that going. If there's one item that's absolutely essential, it's flaxseed. And flaxseed is an amazing product that we're going to put into our mixture because it has a ton of omega-3 fatty acids. This will increase egg production, but it also does something very interesting. It makes the eggs taste so much better. And your chickens will look better because it also helps the appearance of their feathers. So we get 1 scoop of flaxseed goes into our mixture. And again, a little spritz. Mix it up. And we're ready for the next item, which is red winter wheat. This next item that we're adding is hard red winter wheat. There's 2 kinds of wheat that are available for chickens or other game. One is hard wheat and the other is a soft wheat. You want the hard wheat. This wheat, this hard red winter wheat, contains 17% protein. It'll change the color of the yolks and make them almost a deep orange color. It'll increase egg production. So 1 scoop of the hard red winter wheat goes in. And a spritz. And we mix. Now we're coming to our last item, somewhat controversial. Last item is called calf manna. And calf manna is a very high source of protein. Now, why do chickens need more protein in the winter? We feed this from November until March. If they've been under stress from predators, they use up their resources. In the winter, they need more protein and they need more carbohydrates to stay warm. This stuff looks like rabbit food, and believe it or not, it smells like licorice. It has some anise in it. It's great when chickens are molting. Feathers are 85–90% protein. And when they're molting, they're going to make feathers, and they're not going to make eggs. So a little extra protein supplement goes a long way. There is brewer's yeast in here. There is anise in here. There's all kinds of great stuff. And we only use a half a scoop in our mixture. So that goes in. On the bag, it will tell you how much per chicken to use. And it's somewheres, if I remember, 5 or 10% of the daily ration. If you have a 10-pound feeder, that works out to about 8 ounces of calf manna. So we've got that in. Let's put a spritz and we'll mix. That completes the mixture that we're going to give to the chickens. And I'll put some out in a plate so you can see what it looks like. There is one other thing that we use, and we do it maybe once a month, and that is a half a scoop of food-grade diatomaceous earth. That takes care of internal parasites. We also use that diatomaceous earth in early spring and mid-fall, and we dust the chickens with that to control any external parasites. Been doing it for a few years now, haven't seen any problems. But we do maybe once a month when we're making a mix. Let me get a scoop and I'll show you what this delicious concoction looks like. I don't know if you can see this, but it has everything those girls need to produce quality eggs. I don't mix up 30 gallons at a time. We do small quantities at a time. If we have to make some adjustments, sometimes in very cold weather, we may add some more corn in there. And I don't want stuff going bad in buckets and everything, especially since we use the liquid spray on here. So we mix it up maybe every 3 days, and that seems to work. And that's our mixture. This is what's going to give us the best tasting and, I believe, the highest quality eggs. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for watching and hope you'll consider subscribing. Click on your bell notifications. We've got quite a few more videos coming. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the video.